here if they don't have an answer for it. They've only got 2 cards we don't know of, so I figured let's try to believe in the cleave. It comes down, no response, GG. So we'll play another Ceratops that can't be countered. Hoping they don't have Aether Gust here, just to neutralize. Oof, you hate to see that when the Ceratops comes down 8. And thanks to our opponent, we can use that green mana, get pace in there, swing for 10, GG. How's it going, y'all? It's Fan 920 today. We're back at it with some more MTGA standard action. This time we're playing my baby, some Gruul Aggro. Figured start of the season, go ahead and take this into best of 3 ranked and see how it goes. We had some fun with Marty Winota earlier, so I'm going to try some Gruul Aggro now. Decided to go with a more low to the ground version, kind of like we used to play back in the couple seasons ago. The Gruul Monsters version still may be the better list here, but I figure with not knowing what the meta is going to be right now, just kind of play something that's aggressive and kind of just streamline it as its thing here. So that's what we got. So we got the Fervent Champs and Stonecoils we can play on turn 1, the Robbers and the Zhur-Taas on 2, a multitude of things we can do on 3, and hopefully by turn 4 we're either questing, beasting, Ceratopsing or Embercleaving, something like that. So just a good overall streamlined list here. Sideboard options here: Soul Guide Lantern for cycling or Lurus decks if those still exist. Scorching Dragonfire just good against a lot of different things. Unchained Berserker against the Lurus decks or any kind of blue-white control decks. Ram Through, solid removal option here. Flame Sweep for all the weenie decks or the like Obosh list if those are still around, because people apparently still want to try to play Obosh. 2 Clothis, 3 Ceratops to start it off with there. So let's take this in a rank, see how it goes. Let's go. Alrighty, y'all. First game of the day here is against CK Fault. If we lose, it's not our fault, it's CK Fault. We'll be on the draw to start it off. We hate to see it. 1 land, also hate to see that. But I'm looking here, 4 lands. We'll keep this. It's decent. We got the Robber on 2, Quest and Beast. Hopefully find some action in between there. We're playing against some Lurus, so we'll see if the companions can still do their thing now. Drawing another Robber, not the greatest draw in the world, but does give us a 2-3-4 curve here, so I guess we'll take that. So we got some Grixis, and ooh, it's a Thought Erasure. I feel like every time there's a new format, people try to make Grixis work, and it worked once, I guess, so that's a thing. But yeah, they're looking, they're thinking. I'm kind of hoping they take like an Embercleave here. They take the Questing Beast instead, which makes me assume they probably have a Cry the Canary or something like that. They bought him another Thought Erasure. That's Thought Erasure number 2. Stonecoil is not a bad draw, because I would much rather play Stonecoil on turn 3 here. And taking the Mystical Dispute with a Robber the Rich is actually pretty sweet, because if we have to be able to counter something when we attack with it, it's nice to have that dispute held up. Unfortunately, Thought Erasure number 3 in their deck coming down, so 1, 2, 3 Thought Erasures there. And they take the Stonecoil Serpent. Still not the worst, because we can play another Robber the Rich here as long as they don't have a Disfigure. And did they just bottom another Thought Erasure? Is that Thought Erasure number 4? Well, funny enough, we top deck another Stonecoil Serpent after they just made us discard that one. Thinking about playing another Robber the Rich here? We'll go with the Stonecoil Serpent instead, though. Figure we'll start off, go ahead and just attack in, just in case we get anything else to play here. No dice, so we'll get them down to 14. Stonecoil Serpent for 3. Pass the turn. So at this point I'm thinking maybe Lurus is just kind of here for free value, since they don't really have any permanents in the deck. And that's what it's here for. Hard to really tell with it, but currently it's just kind of in no man's land. So they play a Fable Passage here. Correct, Fable Passage. Get a mountain. Figure we might be getting Ritual Sooted here. Maybe Flame Swept. Lazav. So they do play creatures here. Curious about what they play, though, because their graveyard is literally just 4 Thought Erasures and a Fable Passage. But if that comes down, main deck Soul Guide Lantern. This almost feels like it's a best of 1 deck that kind of just got imported to Arena. But they exile one of their own Thought Erasures for some reason. Off the top here, no lands, but we do pick up another Stonecoil Serpent, which isn't too bad. So they've got the 1-3 here. We can go and attack in here with the Robber the Rich anyways. We don't have less cards than they do, but this still kind of forces them to block something, so that way the 3 damage can get in there. Figure once again, we'll go ahead and just play the Stonecoil Serpent here. Would have been nice to hit a land there, so we could have just Embercleaved over them. And if that was the case, they'd probably just die. So here they go ahead and sack Soul Guide Lantern. I mean, it's not a terrible card to have in the main deck, I guess. It just doesn't seem like it's doing a lot here against us. So Lazav still has nothing in the bin to transform into, so I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm assuming they run Croxus and things like that, but otherwise I'm not really sure. So they drop a Soul Guide Lantern. Again, not really doing much of anything in this matchup. They take away yet another Thought Erasure. Okay. And they're holding up the 3 mana, so they don't put the Lurrus back in hand, so I'm not really sure what they're doing. From here, I can Embercleave, but I figure if I do it this way, I can rob her and still attack in and still Embercleave if they don't kill anything. And if they do kill something here, it's still not a big deal. So I'm not sure if they're just trying to do this instant speed now. Nope, Drown in the Lock. That's fine, because it would have countered our Embercleave anyways. And since they know about the Embercleave, there's not much we can do. So here we attack in. Once again, they chump block. We'll swing 6, get them down to 5. They're staying alive at 5. Soul Guide Lantern hitting the bin once again. We have the Embercleave left in hand. And they realize they've got nothing. So far we've only seen Lazav from them. So we go to sideboard here. Not really sure what to do. Shifting Ceratops and come in here though. Having Pro Blue is nice. The Clothis seems pretty good because we get stuff out of their bin. Like their Croxa, or Clothis, sorry. Our Clothis will be good against their Croxa Tomato tomorrow. Trying to figure if anything else we want. Soul Guide Lantern is a possibility on our end as well, but it doesn't seem like it does too much. I feel like I go ahead and take out one Embercleave since they have the Drown in the Lock, so I can pretty easily counter that. I'm looking here. The Bonecrushers don't seem to do much when all they have we send so far is the Lazav. Gotta get one more card out of this thing. Scorching Dragonfire is also a possibility, just being able to exile, that's pretty good. But since they didn't see any other creatures, it's really kind of bad to put that in there, so... Game 2 against CK Fault. Let's see how it goes. So this hand's pretty sweet. We got a nice little 2-3-4 curve here. We'll keep those. Also, just in case it's not obvious, doing a little post commentary here. I would never play Magic while I'm at work, but if I did and had to record later, that's why I'm doing this. But again, I would never play Magic at work. So they drop an Overwhelmed Apprentice and then a Vantress Gargoyle. So all of a sudden, this deck is looking much different than when we saw the first game. Their Gargoyle can't attack yet, but it can block, so we can play a Robber the Rich here, but it's definitely not going to get to go swinging. The 2 mana 5/4, a little bit much for us there. Now we do have this Gem Razor which can destroy it, however Robber the Rich is a human, so we can't mutate onto it. And we also have 1 green source right now, which doesn't help either. They shock in here and decide to just put the Lurrus in the hand. Sounds good. So here we have the option of playing a Clothis, playing a Spellbreaker, playing a Domri. It's kind of risky because if we play the Domri right now and they happen to get enough stuff in our bin, they can attack it down with the Vantress Gargoyle and that feels bad. Clothis doesn't really have anything in the graveyard to be exiling right away. So for the time being, I think we just go with the Spellbreaker, make it a 4/4 so that way the next turn they can start attacking. If they want to trade with the Vantress Gargoyle, they can. We don't want them to. We each mill a card apiece here. Pass a turn. So they decide they have a little Noxious Grass out of the side coming down, but if that's all they do for this turn, that's not a huge deal. Anax coming down a bit too late. I would have much rather had the Anax come down on 3 than that than the Spellbreaker last time, but sometimes it'd be like that. Thinking what to do here. I feel like this time now that they have another Vantress Gargoyle in the bin, we should probably play this Clothis. They missed on a land last turn, but if they start hitting them, I'd hate for them to be able to play Lurrus and then get that back. So, I feel like just to be on the safe side here, we're much better off to go ahead and get this Clothis down now. So that way we can start exiling their creatures and anything that's problematic. Play another Overwhelmed Apprentice. This also is kind of bad because now even if we get rid of the Gargoyle, our attacks aren't great here because they just 2 for 1 and trade with our Robber the Rich. So we don't love that. That 5/4 on turn 2 is just kind of a big deal. So now they got enough things in the bin. They can start attacking in. That rhymed. Do it all the time. Yeet. So they get us down to 14. We draw a Questing Beast, which would usually be really good. However, I'll try to play it here and realize we only have 1 green mana. That's that shit we don't like. Also, I have Gem Razor, but I can't mutate on anything yet because still just 1 green source and human on the battlefield. So you see me try to play Questing Beast here and realize that ain't it. Can't do that. Could play Domri here, and that feels like, I don't know, it feels okay. We go ahead and do it anyways. If they want to attack it for a turn, they can at least try to do something like that. But they have the Drown in the Log ready to go. Drown in the Log, very good card for what they're doing. And again, no attacks here because the Overwhelmed Princess can just double block and trade. So here, they play a little Thought Eraser. Get our Gem Raiser out of the way, which is unfortunate. It just sucks we didn't get that second green mana source that we needed there. They shocked in, so I'm assuming they have either another Drown in the Log or some kind of removal. Either way, they get us down to 11. Here, we'll get rid of this Noxious Grass. Not really too much we can do here. They don't have any permanents, but we'll get them down to 11 as well. We'll go to 13. Here we play the Anax. And luckily this Clothis is at least gaining us enough life where we can kind of take these hits for now. Now, dead weight's a little bit annoying. It is nice that we have this Anax to be able to replace it somewhat. So that means we can Embercleave this next turn. So we go down to 8 here. Not sure what they have, but I feel like at this point we're probably better off swinging in. This Clothis, again, doing work here. Getting rid of dead weight, because if they played the Lurrus and got back dead weight, that'd be pretty aggravating for them to do that every turn. So I feel like we just go to attacks here, swing all out, because if they block badly and don't have an answer for this Embercleave, they're going to die. And worst case, that means we just lose a Satyr token here. It's not a big deal. Regardless if they block or not, we have the power to get through with Anax. With the Embercleave here, if they don't have an answer for it, they've only got 2 cards we don't know of, so I figured let's try to believe in the cleave. It comes down, no response, GG. So a good game 1 here. Gruul Aggro beating down some Grixis Lazav. Who would have thought that would lose, right? Good first game. Let's go to the next. So game number 2 against Meatball 20. We'll take the play here this time. We keep that. Meatball, the distant cousin of rock singer Meatloaf. The budget version. It's like when you go to Kmart, you don't get the real thing. We'll keep it land here because we only have 2. The Temple coming down on 1 is a bit frustrating, but we can still go Robber on 2, and it's not that bad. And then turn 3, we can follow up with a Robber and a Fervent Champ. So they got a Yorion. Been really curious to see how this one work, because hashtag Ron Thoman, excuse me, Time Walk TV though, my buddy, he's a big Yorion believer. One of my buds on here, so if you don't follow him on YouTube already, go check out Time Walk TV, but he's a big believer in Yorion. Said he's been smashing some Gruul. I think it's just because he's probably playing some bad Gruul players, because not everybody's as good as me, you know? I'm kidding, mostly. But, see how this Yorion matchup goes. We take a Dream Trawler, this time we take a Birth, so not terrible hits here. I'm not going to play either one of those, but just being able to take that Dream Trawler out of their deck is really nice. Here they play a Temple of Enlightenment, so I'm not sure if this is just Azorious Yorion or if they have some red in there. Off the top, we draw a 4th land, which is pretty nice. Waiting to see what they do here. Brazen Borrower. Okay. So here we can still get in for one with the Fervent Champ, and then from here I could either play a Robber the Rich, or I could play Robber the Rich and hold up Stomp, or just play the Ceratops. Decide, just go with the Ceratops. They want to board wipe as they can. However, they just play a Triome here, so they do have the red mana. We're live for Cleave right here. So I could play another Ceratops, but since I didn't grab a 5th land here to be able to haste it out, decided to just swing in with this and try to Embercleave. So Cleave coming down, they have Absorb mana up. Let's see if they have it. Cleave gets to resolve. We put it on the Ceratops now, so there's not much they can do with it here. They could still bounce it with a Brazen Bar, some Petty Theft. And for some reason, they decided to bounce my 1/1 instead of rebounce the Embercleave. I know Embercleave can just come down again, but that feels like a really bad move considering the Fervent Champ has haste also. So now we're kind of in a great spot. They're at 2. I have Stomp in hand. I have multiple haste threats in hand, and we get there. So good game there. Not sure what the opponent was doing there with that, though. Doesn't seem like the right play. So against them, Ceratops coming in once again. Put some Unchained Berserker in here. Possibly good against the Teferis and whatnot. Figure we go ahead and throw that in there as well. So 4 cards to take out. Bonecrusher is not very good here, so we should probably take that out. I don't recall what I boarded out here, actually. But they have little to no Stomp targets here, so that's one we usually want to get rid of. We end up cutting some Zhur-Taa, cutting a Fervent Champ. Almost say done here. And yeah, for some reason I didn't board out Stomp. I should have boarded out Stomp. That was me just being stupid. This hand has no green mana, but I have Fervent Champ and the Unchained Berserker, and then 2 Stonecoils to follow it up. If we find the green mana, Questing Beast. So even though this is a kind of weird hand, we'll keep it. So here I have the option. I can play the Temple on 1. Decide to just play the Mountain, get the beats in with the Fervent Champ, and go from there. Because I can always play the Unchained on 2, and then on turn 3 just play a Temple and play Stonecoil for 2. We have kind of options and flexibility here. Draw a Forest, so it may not even matter. End up playing the Forest here, play the Unchained Berserker, get the swings in. This way, if they have a Teferi, they can bounce the Fervent Champ if they want. However, they could also just tick up and go to 5 because we only have 4 power on board here. Now, any haste creature makes this a little bit bad. However, no haste creature we can play here. So at this point, I feel like I'm probably better off playing this Temple since I have plenty of plays at 4 mana. Spellbreaker's not a bad draw here. We could probably use another land, but just any haste creature we can get is good. And even though this feels really bad to swing for it to Fairy and not kill it, I still think it's the right answer. I forgot to play Stonecoil, and you see me almost oops them, but I just played a little bit too fast for my own good here, so that was my fault. Kind of works out, though, because we can still play this Questing Beast anyways. Feel like just swing these at them. This way I'm kind of giving them the option if they want to be able to block and keep their Teferi alive, they can. But if they just want to chomp block and get rid of Archon of Sun's Grace, I'm more than happy with that. The Archon's a little bit scarier. Now this does open us up to a Shatter the Sky, which they can do at instant speed. They plus up here, pass a turn, holding up the most obvious Shatter the Sky I've ever seen in my life. So we start to go to attacks, and wouldn't you know it, our skies have been shattered. So since we can't attack now, nothing wrong with playing a 5/5 Serpent. So just play a casual 5/5 with protection from multicolored. So that Yorion's not a threat, that Teferi's not a threat. The Teferi's still a threat with some instant speed board wraps, you know, but now they can't do that since they did Narset. So they spin the Narset wheel and they whiff. Oof. You hate to see it. Then they follow up with a burst. Now they've only got one other card in hand minus this planes we don't know about, so we're feeling pretty good here. Hoping for a good draw off the top, and we get one in Questing Beast. This allows us to kind of take out both of their creatures here. So even though I'd love to just swing 9 at their face and put them on a 1-turn clock, I think it's more important to make sure we get rid of all these things here. So I'll swing the Stonecoil at Narset because I don't want them having another look at a board wipe. So Narset down, Questing Beast hits them for 4 in the face, which is enough to also take down this Teferi. So they're going to get an 0/4 wall this next turn, but it doesn't really matter. Figure I got 1 extra mana, may as well play the Stonecoil Serpent just to have another attacker, and if I find a Gem Razor off the top, I can mutate and just have another thing of damage. Archon of Sun's Grace here, not a bad rip off the top for him, and they use that remaining mana to put the Yorion in their hands. Unfortunately here, I am short a green mana to be able to haste this out. If I could haste out the Ceratops, they'd be pretty much guaranteed to be about dead now. However, no such luck. Luckily, I can spin the Questing Beast, send the Stonecoil Serpent in there, see if they're interested in chump block, and they're not. They take it and go to 5, so I figure let's just go ahead and play another 5/5 here. They have to rip a board wipe off the top, or they're pretty much dead-zo. So they've only got 1 draw to do it. So let's see what they got here. They can play this Yorion, but again, it doesn't really do much of anything. So they swing in here. I don't know if they forgot Stonecoil just has reach or not. That does get them up to 10, and of course they top deck yet another Shatter the Sky. See what else they want to do here. They're looking at that field of Ruin, which would actually be great for me because I could get a green source if they did anything. No such luck, and again, miss out on the green. So I feel like here, just play a Ceratops for now. It stinks to not be able to haste it, but they're in top deck mode, and that Yorion can't do a thing about this shifting Ceratops. And this way, next turn, once again, if we find a green source, we're good to go. Luckily, opponent makes a huge mistake here, I think. They decide to blow up my Castle Vantress and give me this other green source I've been missing the whole time. So, thank you, opponent, for that. Not sure what they were thinking with that one. So, Yorion coming down. They have 3 mana, not sure what it is. It could be a land, it could be something, but either way, opponent gifted us, so graciously gifted us with this forest, so we'll play another Ceratops that can't be countered. Hoping they don't have Aether Gust here, just a neutralize. Oof, you hate to see that when the Ceratops comes down A. And thanks to our opponent, we can use that green mana, get the haste in there, swing for 10, GG. 2-0 Gruul, it's going to play 1 more. Last game here is against Marco Shadow. See if we can make it up to plat 2, not a bad start here. Now, I'll forewarn you in this one, the opponent played this very, very slow, so I had to chip and cut a lot of parts here. And I've had to do that through some of these games, so if you see me doing some your goes, or you see me like kind of switching around on the you know, the visuals there a little bit, it's because I've just had to cut this out for y'all. For some stupid reason, I play Stomping Ground untapped on 1 and take 2 unnecessary damage. We have a 1/1 Stonecoil Serpent ready to go. Play the Serpent because we have Stonecoil in hand for our 2 mana play, then Spellbreaker and Ceratops. Opponent not seeing any red mana here so far, so I'm not sure if they're Jund Food. They go ahead and play a Woe Strider. So, not a bad start for the opponent at all. Turn 1 Goose into turn 2 Woe Strider is pretty devastating. So here, again, kind of the same thing. I'm deciding what to do here. I feel like we'll just play the Stonecoil for 2, because I'm more than happy to trade a Stonecoil Serpent for a Woe Strider. So that comes down, no attack since they have the 3 mana card on turn 2. Opponent just doing the thing. It's turn 3 for opponent. Let's see what they got here. Little Fable Passage coming down. Okay. Priest, not a bad draw either. It does make me happy that I played that Stonecoil Serpent on 1 though, because having 1/1 I can sack for basically free is not a bad draw here. Still, opponents had a pretty dang good start, going, you know, Goose into Strider into Priest. Here, unsure of what to do, but I do have another 2 mana play I can do now. So I decide, let's go ahead and just swing with the Serpent. Hope they want to trade something with it. They can just jump block here. We'll still trample over for 1, and if they sack it with Woe Strider, we still get 2 damage in, so it doesn't really matter either way. They just take the 2. Here we play the Temple. Robert the Rich coming into the party a little bit late here, so we bottom that and just play the Zhur-Taa Goblin as a 3/3. Now we gotta hope they just don't have the nuts. Spoiler alert, they kind of have the nuts. So opponent goes and get their red source. They finally have a red source now. So let's see what they got for us here. They can sack something. We just easily sack a Stonecoil Serpent though. But claim the firstborn would be pretty rough on our end. They can sack one of our creatures and make us sack another one. Let's see what we got. They're staring awful hard at that Zhur-Taa Goblin. It's a bit spooky. So they go ahead and sack the Goat and the Goose. We sack our 1/1 here, which is a good trade for us. We just gotta hope they can't follow up with anything too important here. They've had all the answers so far, so hopefully they don't have too much here. They've only got 4 cards in hand. They play Bolas Citadel on turn 4. Now, I've edited a lot of this stuff out here because they went nuts. But this is all the same turn. Like, not a turn passed by. And yeah, turn 4, Bolas Citadel absolutely massacred us. They went off. Cut about 3 or 4 minutes of play off of there, so you guys didn't have to watch them go through that. But I'll give them credit. They maneuvered that super well. They went down to 1 or 2 damage, or 1 or 2 life remaining multiple times, but they still were able to just like barely squeak by and get us. So we do our sideboard in here, bring in the Scorching Dragonfires, bring in the Soul God Lanterns, bring in the Clothis, bring in the Flame Sweeps. Pretty heavy sideboard for this one. Let's hope they don't have the Absolute Nuts one again. Once again, words are hard. This hand is fine. Having an Embercleave or something like that, we can turn 4 Embercleave and power over them. Can be enough to get through a lot of times. We gotta hope they just don't massacre us like we did this first game. Because not a lot of people are ever going to live through a turn 4 Bolas Citadel. That's insane. So we play the Temple. Actually, maybe it's turn 5. Maybe I got like 1 turn to edit all that out, but nothing ended up happening that was worthwhile. They have the Goose on turn 1 yet again, so opponent just kind of doing the thing and smacking us around. Here we play Stonecoil Serpent for 2 past the turn. Opponent taking their sweet time here. So they kept a greedy hand here, so they have to use their Goose mana to play this Priest on 2. But it gets down. We don't have an answer for it yet. I feel like since they may have a claim the firstborn here, we're just going to play the Spellbreaker and haste it out because they're going to attack through about anything. And we got to start putting the clock on them. Next turn we can Embercleave. If we get a next turn, that is, and they don't make us sack all of our stuff here. Fable Passage getting sacked. Assume they probably go get their red source this time. Nope. A little bit of black action. Okay. Opponent, they're staring awful hard at my Spellbreaker. They shock in. You always hate seeing the Jund Food deck shock in. There's that red mana. You just I mean, what do you know? Turn 1 Goose, turn 2 Priest, turn 3 Claim on your thing. Make you sack your best creature. So they smack us for 3, then smack our hearts and our souls. They play Trail of Crumbs here. They go ahead, crack that food. So they can float 1 mana. I mean, again, opponent has played this fantastically. So they got that 1 mana floating now thanks to the Goose. Sack it, make us sack our creature. And now with the extra mana, play a Woe Strider. So, I mean, the opponents they just had it all. And again, this is a bad matchup for us in general. So when it goes, bad matchup for us and the opponent just kind of has the nuts, you can't really do much about it. Here, we'll play a Spellbreaker. Opponent waited way too long. I've noticed all you Jund people who play Jund food, it's fine if you play it. But man, y'all gotta remember when you get this Woe Strider out, you get priority for like every little interaction in this game. So it gets really annoying to wait the 15-20 seconds for you to just hit go because you're not paying attention to your Woe Strider triggers. So opponent can sack stuff here, but it's probably not a great move unless they have another claim. But they go ahead and do it, which seems really odd. We go ahead and sack our Fervent Champ. Not sure what they were thinking with that one, to be honest. Oh, but it's just because they casually have a Corvold. So here they sack the Trail of Crumbs. Sucks we don't have much removal for this or a land here, because I think we could have beat that Corvold had we drawn a land. Instead, we have to play a 4/4 Stonecoil Serpent, which just isn't good enough against their 5/5 that can keep growing. So missing on a land there is probably the nail in the coffin for us. They play a Cauldron Familiar, drain us, shock in with an Overgrown Tomb. Again, don't like seeing that. And they play another Woe Strider. So here they can do the cat, sack it. I mean, we're just dead here. There's no coming back from that. So GG. All right. So overall, 2-1 Gruul Aggro here. Not too bad. Not surprising the Jund Food matchup got us. If Jund Food is a popular deck in the format, which it seems like it might be right now, Gruul could have some trouble because Jund Food is a really good matchup for them against us. But otherwise, like, this felt pretty solid. The lands were a little bit awkward sometimes. I want to go back and try the Gruul Monsters list now because I'm just curious to see how those kind of compare. Again, like I said at the beginning, Gruul Monsters may just be the better list of these two. But this still felt really reasonable and felt like I had game against most things here. Just sometimes when you got Jund Food, turn 4, turn 5, Bolus Citadel comboing you can't really do too much. But I hope you all enjoyed this Gruul Smashing a little bit. Thank you all for the support. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.